Hey there, Calc 3 folks. I hope you're back and ready for another semester of calculus. My name is Fred Sexton, and I'm here to be your professor this semester. If you'd like, you can call me Professor Sexton or Professor S works, or even just Fred is fine with me. But what I wanted to do today was give you just a quick little introduction to the course and some of the links on the internet that you're going to be using to help you get through the course and just start to point out some of the things on these first days just to help get you started. If you've been a student of mine last spring, you can see I pushed up the production value a little bit here. I do have a nice web camera. I do have a nice microphone. I bought a green screen, and I do have some ways to kind of step up my production a little bit here for these videos, and I'm kind of excited to be able to do that for you this semester. And if you've been a student of mine at calculus, we certainly are going to, there's going to be some changes. Things are going to be a little different, but hopefully better, right? Hopefully better is what I'm hoping for. So I do have some things in my plans to help facilitate a really, hopefully, good semester of calculus. So what I would like to do today, though, is, like I said, just start to introduce you to some of the things that we're going to be using this semester to help facilitate our study of the calculus. So what I did here was I did bring up some links that we're going to make use of, and one of the big places you're going to spend a lot of time this semester is on Blackboard, right? One of the ways that I'm going to kind of guide you week by week through the material is with this online learning management system known as Blackboard. And if you've taken a class at Lewis and Clark, you've most likely have had a Blackboard element to it. A lot of our courses use Blackboard. Now, where you are going to get to Blackboard, here is the web link. It is https:// twice, and I don't even think you need to really put that in, but blackboard.lc.edu is where you're going to find our Blackboard page. Now, if I go ahead and open into there, it will open up to this page for the first time in to Blackboard. If you are new to Blackboard, this is what it would look like to you when you first arrive on Blackboard. And I do think this sets itself up, resets itself, and logs you out each day after a certain period of time. So you may have to log in more than once. And where you are going to log in at is right here with the Lewis and Clark login. So if you click on there, right, it will take you to a login page, and you are going to have to log in using your Blazernet credentials if you're familiar with Blazernet at all, or if you're familiar with going online and registering for classes through the Lewis and Clark system. You do have a Blazernet ID. It most likely consists of your email address on campus as well as a password, right, that you have set up. So if not, you may want to contact somebody in that would be the help desk on campus, and they could get you set up with your Lewis and Clark Blazernet credentials if you're still having difficulties there. And to get to campus, I believe you can just call 468-7000 and ask for the help desk, and they should be able to help you out. Now, if we go ahead and sign in, once you sign in to Blackboard, you will see your basic Blackboard page here where they do lay out your announcements and tools and what's new. And right in the middle here, you will find your courses. This is my courses for the semester, and you can see over the semesters I've had quite a few courses in here where we're going to focus our attention. Let me close some of this up. Right? Where we're going to focus our attention and where you would look is into the 2020 fall semester, right? This set of courses right here. And you might have a Blackboard link for each one of your courses up here in the given semester. Now, all mine are math courses because I teach nothing but math. But you might see your science course up here. You might see your speech course up here, and so forth. And this is where you're going to access Blackboard for each of your courses. Now, you are my Calculus 3 course, folks, so that would be Math 271 down below here. I have not currently opened it up to make it available to you, but my plan is to do that very shortly when I send out this email to have that all open for you. And if you were to click into there, right, it is going to bring you into a page that looks something like this. Now, I don't have student mode turned on, but I do have edit mode turned off, so it's going to look very similar to what you're going to see when you log into Blackboard for this course. All right, where it does bring you to when you log in and you click into My Blackboard Courses, it does bring you into what we call the course notification page, and that is the first link here that's on your Blackboard course. Here is the course notification page. If you click that button, it will just bring you right back to this home screen. Right on this home screen, you do have the My Announcements and your tasks listed out along with alerts, what's new, and to-do list. Now, these things kind of update themselves automatically throughout the semester. What I really do here is I put on a lot of announcements. This is where you're going to find my announcements, folks. Right? And then due dates are going to cause your alerts and your to-dos and your tasks to update regularly. Right? So that is the home page there. Really, you want to pay attention to your announcements and these other items. Announcements you can also find here on the first link. Oh, and I do have some leftover announcements from last year in this course. I'll have to blow those away before I do unlock this for you, but you will see announcements appear there. Course outline, though, is new. Course outline is the outline for the course. It is what we might say is the syllabus for this semester. Kind of gives you all the pertinent details for what to expect this semester. Right? You can see here that we do meet on Monday and Wednesdays from 9 to 9:50. Right? I do have a virtual office this semester, and I do have a posted spreadsheet of those times when I am available. That is the next link down on the left here. If you were to click on to office hours and schedule, you would see that schedule of when I am available for office hours. Right? And we will go through, I will perhaps update how you can reach me during my office hours on there. I'm still trying to figure some of that out, but you would find that under office hours and schedule. Right? My office phone number and email are what follow, as well as some what we think of as being our which are our MyMathLab course ID and access codes, and I'll get to that in just a bit here. Right? The text semester is Calculus, Early Transcendentals. I do have a copy of that right here. This is the textbook we're going to be using for this semester. This page is a little out of sorts. Let me fix that. Just correct its hair. There we go. Right? That is our book for this semester, Calculus Early Transcendentals, 3rd edition. Right? I do have a hardback copy of the book. I do believe the bookstore sells a 3-ring binder version. Right? It's right around $55, I would say, somewhere in that price range. You probably already have a copy of the book from somewhere, but if you're new this semester, you can also rent these hardback copies off of Amazon or Chegg. I believe you can find these. And even if you want, you might be able to get away with a 2nd edition of this book. If you're a new student, you may be able to find one of those really dirt cheap out there. Not much has changed. The sections, some of the sections have been switched around, but the content itself, not much has changed. That is the book, and I will tell you, you are going to want to have some copy and access to a book this semester. MyMathLab does give you a free digital copy to the book, so you do have access right off the bat. It is digital, though. You do have to be online. You do have to have internet access to access that. And I don't know about you, but I really don't like working in the digital realm when it comes to books, especially on a computer screen, which is what I work off of. I really don't like spending a lot of time reading on the computer screen, something that I can read from a textbook, right? But that is the textbook, and it is available out there through MyMathLab or the bookstore in a 3-ring binder version for $55 in that price range, or you can go out and rent it. A hardback copy if you prefer a hardback copy from perhaps Amazon, or maybe even pick up a purchase one. 3rd edition might still be rather expensive. If expense is an issue, you might be able to get by with a 2nd edition this semester. right? Yeah. All right, that's the book. Course description, you can read through that, but we are essentially going to be covering chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17 from the current textbook. And one of the early activities I have for you this first week is having you become a little familiar with your textbook. So you will be looking through some of these course descriptions, these items in the course description within these chapters of the book very shortly, right? So, but we will be covering 14, 15, 16, and 17, those chapters this semester. And we are going to be covering most of those chapters this semester, folks, is my plan, right? There might be a little things just based upon time that I might be able to have to take from 15 and have to take from 16, right? And work them in a little bit differently, and that for 17 also, but we are going to plan to cover all of this material. And that is what's highlighted in our course description. Required material, again, I did point out the textbook is required material. You are going to want to have Blackboard access, which is what we're currently looking at here, as well as MyMathLab access, which we'll get into here in a minute. You are provided that for free. Don't pay any money for that. That is this course ID and this access code that's given up above here. And graphing calculator, you might find one of those handy if you've come along the math line here and you've been using the graphing calculator along the way. You certainly might find that handy. I'm not going to take that away from you at all. Certainly you can have access to that. And then one thing I'm thinking of trying to incorporate in this semester is what we call Wolfram Cloud Access or Wolfram Programming Lab Access, right? And it is free. It is a free program, and I'll spend a little time showing you that. It's a cloud-based program related to Wolfram or Mathematica, right? If you're familiar with Mathematica at all, Mathematica is a mathematical programming language. It's what Wolfram Alpha is built upon. And it's used rather widely at university. It is a programming language that you're going to have to become familiar with if you go off to university, most likely, or you're going to want to become familiar with if you go off to university. And it's a program that's widely used within industry, right? Written by Stephen Wolfram. I have just over the last year began teaching myself this program, and it's really powerful. It does some really wonderful things for us, and it can make life really easy if we allow it to. And it could really take our exploration into these topics into some really further depths really easily, and that's what we might attempt to do here this semester. It is free, right? That's one of the reasons why I am grabbing it here. It is free, available on the cloud. You would just have to set up an account, and I'll show you that here in just a bit, perhaps. All right. In terms of methods of evaluation this semester, this is kind of how I'm going to break down your final grade in terms of weightings. Each week, you're going to be expected to participate and attend our synchronous class meetings. Those are that 9 to 11 o'clock time frame on Monday and Wednesday mornings. I may not necessarily keep you that entire time. My plan is not to lecture to you that entire time, but my plan is to have us work hopefully on certainly we'll have some discussion, right? Some discussion during that time. Help you answer some questions, maybe work through a few more examples with you if I need to. But also to have you work through some activities and introduce you to some activities that you might be working on in between class times. Right? Things that I'm going to hold you somewhat accountable for in terms of a grade, and those would weight into this weekly attendance and participation grade worth 15% of your final grade. Right? That is all material that is itself presented via Blackboard or through our online meeting, right? Through Zoom, but I will post where you will be turning it in and those directions on Blackboard, right? If we read that is given down here. All right. These are things that are going to be presented basically on Blackboard through Zoom on our regular class meetings throughout the week. All right. What you'll also be responsible for throughout a week is some quizzing. All right. I'm going to use MyMathLab for that quizzing. It's worth 15% of your final grade, and my plan is that each week you have a quiz. Right. On a week each week my plan is to have a quiz. We're going to kind of see how that plays out here, folks. There is a week 1 quiz already out there ready to go over what I hope to be week 1 material, what is kind of going to be our week 1 goals. And that will be followed by week 2's quiz. Right? And possibly followed by week 3's quiz, just looking at how we progress through these first few sections of material. Right? Those quizzes in the end will count for 15% of your final grade. Right? All weighted equally. And the same goes with these in-class assignments. They will all be weighted equally against each other. Right? And in the end, they'll be worth 15% of your final grade as a grade. Right? And that goes similarly with these MyMathLab quizzes. Right? Where a bigger chunk of your grade comes from is 4 examinations this semester. Right? My plan is to have 4 exams, one about every 4 weeks, right? Covering the previous 4 weeks worth of material. Each of them is going to be worth 17.5% of your final grade. Right? For all 4 of them adding up into the end for 70% of your final grade. So you can see 70% plus this 30% makes 100% of your final grade. All right? Exam dates, we'll kind of announce those in class, but right now I believe you can plan for the first exam to likely be the early part of the 4th week of class is what my plans are. Right? And as I kind of solidify the calendar, I will get that posted up into Blackboard with a for certain date on there. But let's see how this first week goes in terms of getting through the material. But you can certainly plan for that 4th week of the class is when we're going to take this first exam. All right? Now, in terms of these grades, right, you can see a little more information given down here below, but we are going to have to follow a rather rigorous calendar. All right? This is a 4 credit hour class. It is Calculus 3. We are going to have to cover material from chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17, and we're going to have to do it in a set time frame. We have a deadline, right? So it is going to be a bit of a rigorous calendar in here, right? There's not much flexibility in the course calendar, right? We have to be really cautious. We have to set up a week's set of goals, and we have to attempt to accomplish those goals. And if we don't, we may have to take on some of those goals as a personal responsibility for that week, right? So we have to make sure that we use our time wisely this semester, right? One thing I will make note of here, there are really no makeups, right? My plan is not to really provide opportunity for makeup this semester. There will be due dates on items. There will be due dates on these exams. Exams will be on certain days. There will be due dates on the assignments I give out in class, and there'll be due dates on these MyMathLab quizzes, right? There are no makeups on those due dates. I may push back a due date, but once I set a due date and a majority of the class or even a portion of the class turns in those assignments on those due dates, then that due date is kind of set and it's missed if you happen to miss it. For these grades that are in these 2 categories, right, I do plan to drop a few of those grades at the end of the semester. Right? So if you miss a few, it's not going to be a big deal. In terms of the quizzes, I'm going to drop 2 or 3. So if you miss 2 or 3 quizzes throughout the semester or perform poorly on 2 or 3 quizzes, it's not going to hurt you at all. Right? And with these weekly assignments, my hope is to have an abundance of those. Dropping 2 or 3 and having an abundance, missing a couple is not going to necessarily hurt you overall. Or if you happen to perform poorly on a few, it's not going to hurt you overall too greatly. You're only worth, in grand total, 15% each of your final grade. Now, what you want to prepare for, though, are these rather significant portions of your final grade that come up on each of the 4 exams. Right? Since we don't have an exam makeup date, my plan is to use the last week of the semester to take a comprehensive final exam. That comprehensive final exam is essentially what I think of as being an optional final exam, but comprehensive, where if you have a low exam grade in one of these first 4 exams, or if you have missed an exam throughout the semester, folks, you can replace that missed exam grade or that low exam grade with your comprehensive final exam grade. right? So your final exam is going to be used this semester to replace your lowest test grade. All right, so there are a couple of outs in each of these grade categories, folks. All right, there's not an infinite number of outs, though, folks. You do have to stay on top of the material. You do have to watch your calendar. You do have to pay attention to your due dates and make sure that you're making appropriate sacrifices and that you are saving up your drops, right? How many, those 2 or 3 grades that you're allowed to drop. The last thing you want to do is give those away on really needless items or things that you really don't need them for. If you have a lot of responsibilities this semester, you want to make sure that you balance your time wisely. Okay, in terms of all of this, the other big item I put up here is practice, practice, practice. Certainly, you're going to be working on these items throughout the semester, but you don't want to make those your only focus. Right? These are only worth a small portion of your final grade. What you want to certainly make sure you're doing is preparing for these. And preparing for these is making sure that you put in lots and lots and lots and lots of practice, folks. Practice can be found in the sections at the end of the book. Right? Well, I should say, for each section, at the end of each section, you'll find a set of exercises. You can work through those practice exercises. The odd answers are given at the back of the book. You can always check those. I've put up practice homeworks on the MyMathLab. I'll point those out. You can access those practice homework assignments on MyMathLab and do a lot of practice there. Right? But you are going to certainly want to put in practice somewhere. Right? I have students who spend the whole week trying to get through the quiz. The quiz is a little bit of the material. What you need to do is master the stuff that's coming in on the exams and all of the stuff that we discussed throughout a week and the material that's presented here in the book. You need to master that. And where that mastering is going to come from is lots of practice. Right? I have students who just focus their time on trying to get through this little quiz, right? And trying to get these little assignments done here. And all that's going to do is slow you down if you're not putting in the practice also somewhere else. You may want to practice first and then come back to these items and see a lot better and quicker performance, right, on these things so that you're not bogging down your time, right, just trying to get these grades at 100%, right? And that's one of the things you have to remember here is also the law of diminishing returns, folks. Sometimes 100% perfection might require an infinite amount of work, right? To get us to a state of 100% perfection might require an infinite amount of work. Now, I don't know about you. I don't have an infinite amount of time in my week, right? So, getting to that 100% state of perfection, you're right, may not be possible, right? Maybe 85% is possible this week. Move on to the practice, or make sure that you're putting in the practice then somewhere else, right? It's called the law of diminishing returns. You want to look into it, right? Sometimes obtaining 100% perfection in something is going to require an infinite amount of work. And it's just then not possible. The resources are not abundant enough to hit that 100% perfection mark. So keep that in mind as you work through this material. All right. There are some other quick notes you can read through here on the course outline that I point out. The big one here, first one is we are going to be in a virtual learning environment. We are going to meet through Zoom, and I'll point out some of that access here in just a moment. Sorry about that, folks. My dad ended up swinging by. I had to pause the video for just a moment, but we're back here. Where was I? Yeah, here are the notes on the syllabus. You want to, the big one I point out here, I've recently added this one just this semester. Since we are going to be working in a virtual learning environment here, folks, meeting synchronously on those Monday and Wednesday mornings from 9 to 11, what is going to help us develop this learning community and what's really going to help you perhaps feel part of the group and be able to be, share with everyone, might be a webcam, right? And a microphone, and being able to communicate both visually and verbally with everybody in class. So you are going to maybe want to seek out those items here coming into this semester, or means of, like I said, sharing visually and sharing verbally in the course, folks. So I do point out that first note, and then the rest of these are rather standard for each of your course syllabi in your different courses. Standard grading scale, 90, 80, 70, 60 for A, B, C, and D categories. Attendance, like I said, attendance is going to be mandatory in your synchronous meeting times. You're responsible for the material missed, and I will hopefully try to post any synchronous material presented during synchronous meeting times as assignments to Blackboard, right, in the folder for that week. So I make note of that here. Accommodations, if you have any special learning accommodations, let me know. Counseling, veteran services are available on campus. The important information given in those notes. We do have our diversity statement, a virtual meeting policy in terms of meeting online. I don't really plan to, record our Zoom sessions. I don't think that's going to be something that we necessarily do. I'm somebody that just forgets to do it. But maybe I will ask those first few days and see if anybody has any issues with recording, so that when I do record, that it's not a problem, or we can start to work around some of that. The big thing here, working also virtually, is first of all plagiarism and cheating and not doing your own work, right? Academic dishonesty, academic integrity, right? So there are a couple of notes given here in terms of those items. And I know one of the first assignments I have for you this semester is just spending a little time reflecting on academic integrity as we start out the semester. And I'll point that out here in just a moment. All right? And then lastly, I think this is where we are currently at, but I don't know if things got worse. I don't know how they could get much worse than they already are. This is how we communicate, folks, essentially, right? This Blackboard, this is where you're going to get all your directions. And then any changes, we'll announce those in class. And then when I do make changes, folks, I always try to make them in favor of the student, right? I try to make them fair in terms of the student's point of view. But changes do need to be made throughout the semester, and I will announce those in class, and I'll most likely announce those through the Blackboard system here. So that is your course outline. Folks, just to point out a couple of other things on here. There is the Blackboard calendar. Due dates will appear up in here for assignments given through Blackboard, right? Your test dates may also appear up through here. If I put those test dates, start putting those test dates into the grade book, they'll appear there. Now, where you're going to want to go from here is most likely over into course content. This is where I'm going to lay things out by the week, folks. I think the best plan of attack here, instead of trying to do it by sections to keep everybody on task and to help organize the course into this, 16, 17 weeks that we have this semester. I say 17 because Thanksgiving week is thrown in there, and that really doesn't count in the 16 weeks. So there's about 17 weeks this semester. So we'll break them down by week. So if I click there into week 1, this is all under course content. Go into week 1. Each week we'll start off with a set of directions for that week, right? Here, make sure you read through the course outline and take note of my office hours and my schedule. And then what you're going to want to do is complete the course outline quiz below. This is your first quiz. It is a Blackboard quiz, all right? You would jump into that on Blackboard and take that quiz. I think there's just quickly 7 questions there, folks. This is one of those first grades that is taken for weekly attendance and participation in terms of the grade book. And I do think it has a due date of Wednesday of this week, or of this first week. All right. Let's go ahead and leave that page. This is, third direction for the week. You're going to want to read through and become familiar with the material in sections 14.1 and 14.2. That's my goal for the week. This is what we need to try to tackle as a class for the week, is make sure that we're taking a look at 14.1 and 14.2. By the beginning of next week, we want to be putting that work behind us. We want to be closing up with that work at the beginning of next week and moving on to 14.3 and 14.4 and beyond next week. All right. You are going to want to work through the practice exercises found at the end of each section, right? And or look at some of the MyMathLab, and maybe I will add that note into there. I am going to be posting some lecture videos down below. If you are looking for some lecture over this material, if just spending the time in the book and becoming familiar with the book is not something that works for you 100%, I also am going to attempt to put together some lecture videos. I actually have the whole, if I go over here to YouTube videos, I actually have the whole back half of the semester already on video. Chapter 16, I have lecture videos for all those topics. Chapter 17, I have lecture videos for all those topics. I put this all together at the end of last spring when we went virtual. What I do not have are lecture videos for the first half of the semester. So I am arranging those and putting those together. And I may update the later ones this semester, but it's just going to have to look at the case for time. Now, if you scroll down, you will see that lecture video here, right? And you can go over to YouTube and watch that. This is over section 14.1. There will be a few more that come up here for the week, right? I do think I want to work through some examples for 14.1, introduce you to 14.2. Actually, I'm not completely done with 14.1. This is just the beginnings. And then I'll get into 14.2 and have some lecture over 14.2. All right. You're going to want to complete the MyMathLab quiz, and I'll go over and show you that here in a moment on MyMathLab. And you want to complete any other assignments presented below for this week. All right. These items will be taken for a grade. The MyMathLab quiz will be taken for a grade. Right. Take note. And then down below here, you do see some of those other assignments starting to prepare. This is the course outline quiz. You want to make sure you take that. And then I just have 2 quick essay assignments here, folks. And these are short essays. One of them has you kind of reflect on the textbook. As I said, this and what my little creed there kind of implies. This is your best friend, folks. This is your first and sometimes your last resource, and you want to become familiar with it. So I give you a little essay just to help you start thinking about the book. And to get you into the book and make sure that you're able to access the book either digitally or that you're working on getting those physical copies of the book. All right. So that essay is there. I think this is due Friday by midnight. And then I give you a quick little essay on academic integrity where I do want you to go out and look at this PDF and then answer these ideas, right? Present some of these ideas. Now, to turn in these assignments, it is a matter of clicking on the assignment, and you will see it'll take you to another description of that assignment, and then you can either write into this text description box. You can write a submission in, which is fine. This is, nothing here is too mathematical, so you could certainly submit an assignment, your short essay this way. And by short essay, folks, it's a paragraph or 2. List the things that I like. Look at what I've asked for and give me what I've asked for, right? However long that happens to take. Or you can attach some files, right? You can either handwrite it. I do take here, upload your short essay by attaching a PDF file below, right? You can attach a PDF file here by attaching files. You could actually just drag it over into this box and it will attach, right? Or you could upload it using this button, right? Or you can actually just write it into your text submission box here if you felt the need. Now, what is nice about the text submission is it does have a math editor. You could put math in there if you so desired, right? So that's your first assignment. You would submit it that way. Let's go cancel. Second assignment is very similar. See if that opens. Yep. That does open. Submitted very similarly with the text submission or uploading a file. It does want you to go out there onto the web, though, and read through this document on the fundamentals of academic integrity, all right, the fundamental values of academic integrity. It does present some of the contents, gives a little introduction to the center of academic integrity, and then takes note of some of the organizations that have signed up to support these values, right? And you can see there is a long list of those, right? Supporters of these values. And then it gets into what is academic integrity. This is what I would really like you to spend some time with, why it's important, and and identifies the fundamental values here: honesty, trust, fairness, and respect. And then the last one, responsibility. And then the last one is courage, to act in a manner that is integrable. All right. So, you have a quick little essay on that where I'd like you to just spend some moments reflecting on academic integrity. So that can be found there in that assignment, folks. Now, as we get into our first class period and our second for the first week, we may also encounter a couple other assignments. Those would appear underneath this week 1, and they would be submitted in similar fashion, folks. So this is the Blackboard content. Also over here, I have the link out to the MyMathLab. If we were to click on that, most of you may already be using MyMathLab for this course. If you do already use MyMathLab for a calculus and have been using MyMathLab, I should be careful here. Actually, I think we all may have to register this new way as a student because we have obtained, where is it? Course outline. Because we have a new access code this semester, right? I do believe most of us are going to have to register as a student. Where we go under OK, register now. And here we are going to put in the Sexton 06605 number. Continue. Oh, I don't think we can start registering until tomorrow. But once we can then start registering tomorrow, maybe I'll go in and make sure I try to change that. So if some of you are on there trying to do that tonight, you can get that done. It's going to ask you for this code along the way. This is the code you're going to use to access that registration, right? It's going to ask when it comes time to paying. Don't give them any money, folks. You're going to use the access code, which is given here, and you can just copy and paste that right over, right? And I'll go through more of this on the first days tomorrow. I'll show you a little bit more of that. But if I was just to go back, now notice all this is found in, I point that out here, mymathlab.com. All right. Once you sign in, you'll see your courses, your math courses listed out that are current and available. And I do think that's what, see, I have it set for August 24th. Let me see. Set that back. Let's set that back. Save changes. So now we should be able to register for that, folks. Hopefully that'll all be ready to go for you when you come back. When this video is actually posted and you're watching this. So you would be able to start to register for this course. Now, underneath this MyMathLab, folks, I don't use a lot. You do have the ebooks available these ways, right? You go into the static ebook. Let's see if this opens up for me. Takes a moment. It appears to be loading. Let's see here. We're going to be back in chapter 14 to begin with. 14 starts on page 868. So we go up here, 868. Enter. Yeah, there's chapter 14, folks. Looks very much like what is presented here in your physical textbook. So there is a free version of the text available if you like the digital versions. Like I had said at the end of each section. All right, this is some of just the clunkiness of a digital book that I don't like. All right, is having to scroll through like this. But these practice exercises, folks. Working through the odds of those and checking in the back of the book is a good thing. It's good practice. Good place to get practice. Right? Whereas Also a good place to get practice is underneath your assignments here on MyMathLab, folks. If we were to click into that, I have put up practice assignments, practice 14.1, practice 14.2 for this first week of material. You'll see practice questions that are very similar to questions that are presented in the book. All right. What's nice about these is they do have some of the help options available to you, whereas the book is just the question presented with not much help other than what's presented previous in the material. Right. But here you can seek out some help to help you. Hold on here. Why is this window? This window's not showing. Let's see here. Can I bring that? There we go. No, that didn't bring it up either. Yeah. Let me do. Can I do it this way? Yeah, we can get in there that way. I can show you. So here is a homework practice. Right, it was doing a pop-up window, folks, and my broadcasting software was just focused on this Mozilla window, and this is the quickest way to get it to come up. But it can show you there's a lot of help that MyMathLab helps you with. Help me solve this, view an example, watch a video, go to the textbook. Right, ask my instructor, print it out. Right, to get help on this problem. So that's what's kind of nice about MyMathLab. And then the other thing you notice on the assignments, these weekly quizzes, there's your week 1 quiz. All right. Homeworks don't have a due date, but the week 1 quiz does. That's 8/31. That's the 31st. That's I believe, a week from Monday, right? Next Monday at 11:59 p.m., this quiz is due. Like I said, over 14.1 and 14.2 by the beginning of next week, we need to be wrapping up that material. Right, and that's what this quiz is holding us accountable for. Right, so take note there, folks. That is really the only 2 things that I would really use here. You know, your grade book is going to show you some grades. What it will show you, though, is the quiz average. I'm just going to have the grade book average up the quizzes. Right, that is it. It's not going to average up. Your homeworks will not affect your score in this grade book. Right. Or at least I'm going to set it up so it doesn't. This grade book will only report your quiz average, which then I have to manually go in every so often and import over into Blackboard's grade book. All right, so that's what will be happening this semester. Now, all my videos are also on my YouTube channel. That was MyMathLab. Let's start closing up this video here. All my videos are on my YouTube channel. Right, you could just go to YouTube and search PiJamaMath, right? But this is my channel. I thought PiJamaMath was a keen little name, just kind of based on the number pi and what's kind of become a current fashion statement in this current state of quarantine, and that's being pajamas, right? So let's do some math in our pajamas, I guess, right? So I call it PiJamaMath right here, folks. So that's my channel here. I don't have a custom URL yet, but please like and subscribe my videos, and eventually I may have that option come through YouTube, right? And right now I have about 11 subscribers, and I think I'm one of those. So, but I do post up a lot of videos here. One thing that if I was to go over to my videos page, I have something like 60 plus videos already posted on here. Over the back end of Calc 2, which you may actually find helpful, folks, being Calc 3 students. There's a lot of conic sections, the chapters 12 and 13 material, all have videos on it from Calc 2. So you can certainly have those to kind of go back to and help you out here on this channel. You can go back to those lecture videos, but I will also be posting your new lecture videos. And I do have them organized into playlists if you're looking for them specifically. Right? Here's the old Calc 2 videos from last semester. If you were looking for some video on the polar coordinate system, you can go back and watch this video. Now, if it loads here, right? But I have all those videos organized into a playlist. So that's my YouTube channel. Again, I do encourage you to like and subscribe. to this. My videos, my information about posting to these channels goes up right away, right? As soon as I post to YouTube, it's available to you. It sometimes takes me a while to get back over to Blackboard and make the video available and known there. So another good place to maybe make sure that you're checking in with regularly is on my YouTube. Folks, I enjoy YouTube. I watch YouTube every day, all day. That's really my channel that I go to. As I sit here and work on my work and I'm prepping up, I'll maybe pull up a Joe Rogan podcast and just let that kind of play in the background. Or, you know, there are other news sources that I like to seek out based, you know, that are alternative news sources to the Fox News and the CNNs of the world. So, or the MSNBCs. So I do seek out, you know, other ways of gaining information. And then again, YouTube is amazing in terms of how much information I just learn. I watch educational videos all day long. I can watch math videos or science or physics videos all day long. Or what's really neat is to watch some of the new space exploration stuff that's going on with was it SpaceX and their live broadcasts and everything. But you know, YouTube, folks, that's where I'm at, and this is how you can find me there. And then a couple other things. We are going to be working with this Wolfram Programming Lab this semester. As I said, this is free, folks. Don't give them any money unless you want to. I currently have bought Mathematica, and I do have Mathematica that I'm going to write up some things with this semester. But you can sign up for a basic plan for free and get a little cloud access to Mathematica. And this has just about everything we're going to need to do this semester in here. It does have everything we're going to need to do this semester in here for free. All right. So if you want to get a head start, you can get signed up for this. And what this is like I said, a cloud version of Mathematica. It's going to bring you to a page like this where you're going to have your files. It does save your files automatically. You can open up a new notebook. Takes a moment to load. Let me close that, close that, close that. See if it comes quicker. Close that, close that. Leave page, yes. Okay. It's still loading up. All right. Oh, okay. I do think it's here. It's ready to go. Yeah, it's ready to go. So it does open up a new Mathematica window. You can do some basic Mathematica operations on here. This is Mathematica on the cloud, folks. All right. I'm going to be giving you some demos this semester here, hopefully. There's a lot of useful stuff I have put together for you, and that I use that I'd like to share with you. I think if I went into some of my files just to bring up some of the stuff I do all my illustrations on Mathematica. And I think I've had students tell me in the past that your physics teachers may require you to do your graphing on Mathematica. All right. But I do have a lot of demos on here. Let's see if there's anything I can open up here that's kind of fun to look at. Like a limit analysis. I think that... Will this open for us? So I've written some programs that are going to help us in our topics this semester. Here we are looking at analyzing limits for multivariable functions, which we're going to find is a really tricky thing this semester to have to do analytically without some resource. And this resource is going to come along and kind of help us with that analysis, folks. Right. So, there are some real benefits to learning Mathematica. And like I said, I've written here a program. This is a documented program that does some limit analysis for us. Really neat stuff. So I hope to incorporate some of that into the class this semester if we have the time and when we have the time. So that is all free. Right? It's at Wolfram Cloud here, folks. lab.wolframcloud.com. We'll take you to the see if I can get back to it. the initial page. Come on. All right. Well, it'll bring you back to that page where you saw down there. It was basic plan is for free. You just have to sign up. You do just have to sign up there, folks. See if I can get that to open back up. Yeah. Here it comes. This button right here should say, yeah, sign up for free. All right. And when you go in there, it's basic, account development information, name, email address, things like that, right? Set up a password, username, right? All that good stuff. All right. Then the last thing, folks, we are going to meet via Zoom this semester. I am going to send you out this in probably a separate email. Have all this Zoom information sent out. Our links to get into Zoom. If you've never used Zoom before, here you're gonna need an invitation to get into there. So check your email for this invitation before class. What you're going to be interested in is this Zoom meeting link. Right? Now, if it's the first time you've ever used Zoom, when you put this URL into your browser, it's going to bring you to this Zoom page. And there's two things it's either going to do. It's either going to actually automatically begin running Zoom if you already have Zoom installed on your computer, or you're going to have to download and then run Zoom, right? And once you download it once, it's pretty much going to set itself up to be ready to go each and every time. And then I do think you're just going to go ahead and allow it to run. And it's going to come up. Now, I don't have to put in a password for myself, but what it may ask you for as you get into this, folks, it is likely going to ask you for the meeting ID. If it ever asks you for the meeting ID, that's what's just given right here below the Zoom link. And then it's likely going to ask you for a passcode. And this is the passcode to get into that Zoom session, folks. And the first Zoom session is set up for 9 a.m. tomorrow. I will likely be in there before 9 a.m. And I usually get started about 5 to 10 minutes after the start of the hour, folks. So I'll send you that also via email. All right, so expect that. Again, this is just a quick little info. When I say quick, as I look at the time, going on 52 minutes now. You can maybe watch this in portions, but you do want to go through and pay attention to these items and take note as we begin this semester. And what I will likely do tomorrow is maybe not spend so much time on all this when I have you in a meeting session, and I may tell you to go out and watch this video. So hopefully you've done that, folks, and we've had that first meeting session, and you're all excited and psyched and getting started with your work. But I'm excited to meet y'all. I'm excited that I have met y'all, if that's already happened. And I'm really looking forward to this semester. Like I said, I have a lot of tools here, folks. I got some new broadcasting software for my computer here, free OBS. It's what the gamers use when they're streaming their gaming software, on Twitch and whatnot. I have a nice overhead camera I can share with you through this, and I have, I can put in some production value like I have been doing here, and I look forward to doing more of that with you this semester, folks. Right? We can make it a little fun if we wanted to, right? We could have a good time, and I hope to have a good time this semester, and at the same time learn some calculus, right? And I think you folks that have had me know that you're up for a treat, and those that aren't, get ready, because it was 16, 17 weeks, and we're done, right? So, like and subscribe on my YouTube, and I will see you next time.